Nazi insignia. You can here see Croatian away game forming swastika from their bodies. You can see often in Croatia messages directed to the Serbs, especially Serbian civilians that died during the war. On the other hand, in Serbia, you can see burning of Albanian flag or Croatian flag. You can see Chetnik leaders on the photos, or in Croatia, Ustaša leaders. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, depending on which, maybe it was too hard for someone. Depending on which part of the Bosnia you are, if there are more Croats, then you can maybe see more Ustaša insignia. For example, in part of where there are more Serbs, you can see this kind of messages. Macedonia is not much different. You can also see, that's the top right photo, worldwide white power. You can see here in Montenegro messages like Kosovo is Serbia, or the also worldwide white power. And then there is us with a terrible name for our fan group, which is White Angels Zagreb, which sounds like a name for a really racist group. But the thing is, the crest, the colors of the club are white, and the worst fan group in Zagreb is Bad Blue Boys. So this is kind of White Angels, so kind of something different. You can see the banner. For example, here, Football Fans Against Homophobia, which is Europe-wide network, FARA network, which is promoting fighting against discrimination on stadiums. And in 1 week in November, there are different, all over Europe, there are different messages, and we are the only one on this, in this part of the Europe that is actually participating at that. Club was formed in 2014. He started competing in 2015. We are still in the same last league where we started. A lot of people don't care really about it. I mean the sports side of the sports success side. What is important for us, for example, is to take part in the solidarity march for the against the violence over the refugees, or players wearing T-shirts that are part of the campaign to collect money for building the shelter for women who experienced violence from their partners. We have women capo. Capo is the person who is sitting usually on the stands, turned their back toward the field, actually looking at the fans and naming the next song and giving the sign when to light the flare, who's going to wave the flag or something. This is maybe also a good example from our merch shoot. These are different people. We have here the person who is sticking out due to his skin color is Sadu, who is an asylum seeker who came to Croatia from Senegal. He got asylum and he played for our club for 2 years. These are other volunteers. So in the statue and in the messages, but also actually in the field. Our women's team started and is so far now playing just it's called futsal, so 5-on-5 in the closed gym, not on the open pitch. This is, I think, their first or second game in cup, and I think this is the fastest growing part of the club. They started with 8 or 9 girls. In the last 3 years, more than 50 girls joined the club. Some of them just for the practice, some of them just for the fun of it. Some of them really in love with football and love to playing it. And I can say they are definitely most successful part of the club. They've won a couple of small tournaments. Also, what can be important for some is the football. Important part of the club are football fans. They are the ones who started the club. The club is much more than them, but they do also play a crucial part. And this is something I think which is really important, especially unfortunately in our region. And these are examples that you can be ultras fan, you can be on the stands for 90 minutes, you can yell your throat off, you can light flares, You can be a proper crazy football fan and still not be chauvinistic, not be homophobic, not be racist, not be a terrible person to the people around you. Uh, you may see me on some of the photos. We will not talk about it. Yeah, we are lighting flares. We are waving with flags. We have messages of fighting against discrimination. We, as in other stadiums, we comment on what is happening on in the society. But when there is a conflict, for example, when there is ignition of hate, for example, towards the refugees, unlike other stadiums where you see death threats and messages like "Go back to Africa," we try to respond with positive messages, with messages of solidarity, of refugees welcome, and similar. Who are the people around the club? This is lowest bottom club. There is no one is paid, not the players, not the coaches, definitely not anyone from. We don't have president, we don't have general secretary or something. We just have general assembly, and we have all kinds of people in the stands. We have punks, we have asylum seekers, we have people bringing children, which is for us really important. That, and they say to us that they finally feel it's the only stadium where they feel completely safe to come with their children. We have we often try to have some kind of interaction on the stands also. Here on the left picture you can see Bongo, who is also asylum seeker, asylum grantee, who is teaching young kids to lead to drum, to help us cheer in the games. And yeah, why I asked you not to take photos of presentation is because, as you can probably guess, not everyone is really happy what we are doing. There is, for the most of the time, it was just Facebook threats. You know, people are sending messages. Excuse my French, but I have to be honest about this. Faggots, go fuck yourself. You don't. Your place is not in the football. Leave our country and stuff like that. We had also a couple of physical threats. People coming to the game with hammer, with pepper spray. One guy came with knife. Luckily, there was never a conflict. The only casualty was that one of our banners got stolen. But yeah, I don't like to, I mean, no one in the club likes to have photos of us presented online. So if you visit, for example, our Facebook page or our web page, you will usually just see wide photos from the opposite side, so they cannot recognize our faces. But what really frustrates us is that we also lack institutional support. Football Association of Croatia and Football Association of Zagreb, as our city, doesn't see this as something really important. For them, we are just, you know, another club. We had a couple initiatives, for example, because we have stupid rules that are applied even to children, of number of foreigners you can have in your team, and we try to pass that asylum seekers are not considered foreigners when registering as a kid to play for a club. We are still waiting for answer on that. We try to ask them to move the limit during which kids, boys and girls can play together. We're also still waiting on it. There are some problems, of course, with this kind of enthusiasm. It's hard to continue this doing for long. We have rather large number of members because people from, we have members from USA, Canada, Germany, Brazil even. But in Croatia, you know, it's all voluntary. It's a lot of things to do, from things that you may not even connected with, like washing the jerseys after the game. But also, you know, coming to the game, we try to always make a meal for the home games and stuff like that. It's a lot of work, and usually the members are the activists themselves, employed people who don't often have time to, you know, take their weekends off to participate in this, and this is something that we are facing and trying to solve. For the end of this emotional roller coaster. Like a proper good ending, it has to be emotional. And this club is at the same time reason why I stayed and the reason why I want to leave, because being part of this club, I figure out how deep and how bad the situation is. And to remind you, I'm living in the capital of the EU country, and we are still facing this kind of problems. But I want to share with you the letter club received last week. The oldest member of our club died about 10 days ago. His son has been living for a long time in the United States, and he sent us a letter in which he said, "My father often talked with me about your club and what you do. I know this whole thing meant a lot to him. He was always so happy when he was doing something for the club, not just going to the games, but also talking about club presence on social networks or just going to the meetings." By the way, the guy he's talking about was running our Twitter, although he was 68 or something, so really age is not limit for Twitter. He would often send me pictures after the games and was really happy that the club was based on non-discrimination, self-governance and participation. It was aligned with his ideology. He was combating depression his whole life, and I know for certain that your club made him happy the last 3 years, and I want to thank you for what you do and continue to do. These kind of messages really push us to keep fighting, to not just this, but also the fact that we know that we are fighting for something good. But at the same time, you know, to walk around the streets and to know, for example, that if you wear a shirt that says love football, hate racism, that you can get beaten up, is also a fact that plays a big part in why am I still standing here and why there is no that amount of money or paycheck or stability of a job that can sometimes, you know, keep you in this place. And I'm sorry to be brutal, but my message from here is either do something really great or leave. Maybe that's not the best message, but it's maybe my own personal opinion. And yeah, if you're staying, you can also support us, join us. If you ever come to Zagreb, hit me up, come to the game. It's really not that much about football, but if you're a football fan, you will have a good time. Thank you.